How's everyone doing? This is Mr. Nolan. I am going to be doing your India and its Empire notes. For those of you in my class, that is your 4B note page. For those of you in Mr. Grimson's class, I'm not sure what it is. I believe it's 4B as well, but here we go. All right, real quickly, quick review. Indian civilization is going to initially develop around the Indus River Valley, and specifically the cities Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Sometimes it's known as Harappa civilization, and this is 1000 BCE until the year 2000 BCE. Around the year 1750 BCE, we are going to have a group of people known as the Indo-Aryans are going to migrate from Western Asia, especially modern-day Russia, through passes in the Hindu Kush Mountains, and they're going to assert dominance over Indian River Valley culture. So they're going to take control over Harappan culture. Okay, this is one of their signs of their downfall. All right, and when we say assert dominance, that's history teacher nice speak for conquered or took over, all of the above. All right, so the Indo-Aryans are significant because not only do they come in and take control, they bring with them the caste system and what become known as the Vedic texts. The caste system and the Vedic texts are the foundations of Hinduism. So the Aryans are responsible for bringing Hinduism to India, and then Hinduism will grow into the massive religion that it becomes after that. So now let's fast forward another 1500 years from when the Indo-Aryans first appear into India. In the meantime, Hinduism has grown strong. The caste system has become a firm portion of society. And somewhere along that time period, around the year 500, we had a guy named Siddhartha Gautama achieve nirvana and launch what becomes known as Buddhism. So we've had Hinduism become strong. We've had the rise of Buddhism, and we're still another 200 years past that, and that's when we get to the Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire is going to rise after the fall of Alexander the Great's empire. Alexander the Great is a Greek who conquers all of Greece, most of the Arabian Peninsula, Egypt, eventually conquers all of Persia, all the way up to the borders of India. When he dies in 324, his empire crumbles quickly. India is then united by the Mauryan dynasty. The Mauryans' greatest ruler was a guy known as Ashoka. All right. Ashoka embraced Buddhism, renounced war and violence. Excuse me, I'm putting bullets in the wrong place. He embraced Buddhism and renounced war and violence. So he spreads Buddhism. Okay, he is responsible for spreading Buddhism throughout India. He promotes religious tolerance. So he does not force people to convert to Buddhism. He allows them to stay Hindu if they wish. Development of trade routes and trade with Greece. So they are going to continue to trade. Eventually, during this time period, we're going to have the Silk Road is going to start to rise. And the Silk Road is when we get our ancient times trade. It transfers goods from China all the way back across to Greece, India being in the middle of that. He's going to spread Buddhism throughout India and throughout those trade routes throughout the area, throughout Asia. He builds good roads, free hospitals, and veterinary clinics. He has almost a half century of stable rule and peace and prosperity, and that almost always throughout history is going to lead to a strong economy. Throughout this year, we're going to talk about numerous empires: the Persians, the Romans, Alexander the Great's empire, the Byzantines, the Muslims, a number of them. And we're going to talk about common themes as to how they are strong and successful as empires. The most common one is that extended periods of peace and prosperity lead to strong economies and happy people. But other things that you'll see is tolerance of conquered people will be a theme. Good roads. When we have good roads, we have better trade. When we have better trade, we have happy people that are making money. So all of these themes we will talk about throughout the year are present here in the Mauryan Empire. Now Ashoka dies in 232, and the empire is going to continue, the dynasty will continue for a little bit longer, but by the year 200 has lost power in India. So around the year 200 BCE is the fall of the Mauryan Empire. So it's going to last from about 300 to 200 BCE. So 200 years before Christ is born, the Mauryan Empire falls and loses power. We go into 500 years of turmoil, and then we get the Gupta Empire in the year 320, created by a guy named Chandragupta. It is centered around the Ganges River. Harappan civilization, Mauryan civilization were all centered on the Indus. The Ganges is the center of Gupta India. And Gupta India is significant because it is known as the golden age of classical Indian culture. So when we talk about India at its height, the height of Indian civilization, we are talking about Gupta India. All right, and during this time period, contributions that are going to occur is we're going to have a growth and resurgence in Hinduism. The Mauryans pushed Buddhism, the Guptas are Hindu. Okay, so we have a growth in Hinduism, becomes more firmly entrenched throughout India. The caste system becomes a big part of Indian society. We're going to have the invention of modern numerals, the concept of zero. And the ancient Indians in this golden age are going to calculate pi. Okay, not cherry, not apple, but pi, the number from geometry. 3.14 and infinitesimal repeating after that. Okay, they calculate pi, so advances in geometry. Our numbers, our numerals, are called Arabic numerals, and that's because when we named them, we had gotten them from the Arabs. So the way we write our numbers were Arabic numerals. Well, the Arabs, the Muslims, had gotten their numbers from the Gupta Indians. So we actually use numbers that were developed by the Indians during this golden age. We have advances in astronomy. The Gupta Indians had figured out that the earth was round 1,000 years before Columbus sailed from Europe. So the Indians have figured things out a little bit ahead of time. We have medical advances, including how to set broken bones so that they're more likely to heal properly. We have advances in literature, and we have new textiles that are formed and discovered. Textiles, for those of you who don't know, are cloth, things like silk and cotton. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. The next video coming up after this one will also be by me and is focused on Hinduism. But first, a little end credit music for it.
I came to get down, so get out your seat and jump around, jump around.